I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC 218. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Amanda Kupa versus Angela Magma. And to me, both these chicks, neither one of them is that good. They both got like kind of shitty records, but I feel like Angela at least has fought better people. So even though her record isn't great, she's at least only lost to really good people. So I'm going to go with Angela. I just feel like these chicks have similar styles, but she's just a little bit better. I say she wins by decision. Next is Justin Willis versus Alan Crowder, and to me Justin Willis just looks like a striker and like a decent striker. I feel like Alan Crowder looks like he's primarily a grappler, but he's only lost to better grapplers. I feel like he's a pretty solid up-and-comer. I think Alan eventually will get this fight to the ground. I think once he does, he's going to dominate it, and I was thinking he's going to win by either submission or like TKO from ground and pound. So that's how I got Alan winning. Next is Jeremy Kimmel versus Dominic Reyes, and to me this is basically just striker versus striker, but I think Dominic Reyes is just a little bit better of a striker. I think that he uses his range really well, and I think that he's either going to land a big shot from the outside with like a punch or a head kick and eventually just win by knockout, either in the first or second round. So I got Dominic Reyes winning by KO. Next is Abdul Alhassan versus Sabah Hamas, and to me Sabah has really good wrestling and he could definitely take Abdullah down, but I take that back. I don't know if he actually could, because I feel like his wrestling is primarily for like defense, so I don't know if he could do that. He should try though, because I feel like that's Abdullah's biggest weakness, and I feel like Abdul, if he can keep this fight standing, he should have the advantage. I feel like speed and power wise, he's the better striker overall, and I think that you know, he has solid takedown defense, but he showed in his last fight that he is possible to take him down if you're really trying. I just don't know if Sabah has that wrestling, so I think this fight will be a standing fight for the most part, and I think sooner or later Abdul will win by KO. Next is Felice Herring versus Courtney Casey. I feel like these chicks have the exact same style. It's like striker jiu-jitsu. I just feel like Courtney Casey is better everywhere, so I'll pick her to win by decision. Not much to say about that fight. I just feel like Felice Herring has looked amazing recently, and I think she's just a little bit better overall, and she's going to win. Next is David Teymur versus Drakkar Klose. To me, this depends 100% on if Teymur can stuff takedowns, which I do think he will. I think that Teymur's takedown defenses look really good recently, and I think that striking-wise, he's the faster, stronger, and better overall technically. I feel like Drakkar Klose's biggest strength is mixing in takedowns with his striking, and I feel like if he can't hit those takedowns, David's just going to be able to, you know, slowly build momentum throughout the fight and eventually win by knockout. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Drakkar is not going to be able to get the takedowns, and I think David's just going to eventually land that big punch and knock him out. So I've got David Teymur winning by either late second or early third KO. Next is Alex Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros. And to me, these guys are both strikers with a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but I feel like Yancy showed in his last fight against fucking Eric Silva that he gets hit a lot. And in all of his fights, he gets hit a lot. And I think that against, you know, someone like Alex Oliveira, if you're going to get hit like that, he's going to knock you out. I feel like that's what's going to happen, too. I feel like they're going to be striking back and forth, but Alex isn't going to get hit as much, and I feel like Alex is eventually going to land that one big shot that just knocks Yancy Medeiros out. So that's just what I see happening. I think Alex Oliveira is going to win by KO probably in the first or second round. Next is Charles Oliveira versus Paul Felder, and this is striker versus grappler, but I feel like if Charles had to strike with Paul, he could. If this goes to the ground, I think, you know, Charles has a significantly bigger advantage. I think that that's what's going to happen too. I think Charles has looked better since he moved up to 55. He doesn't have to cut as much weight. And one thing people don't realize about, you know, Charles is he hasn't lost by knockout in a long time. He does have TKO losses on his record, but he just hasn't been knocked down in a while. He got some in his last couple of fights, but I feel like if this fight goes to the ground, he's much better than Paul on the ground, and I think that he's going to win by submission, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to go out there, take him down pretty early, get his back like how he did against Will Brooks, and just win by rear naked choke probably in the first round. So that's how I got it. Next is Tecia Torres versus Michelle Waterson, and Michelle Waterson showed in her last fight, I think that she's just kind of small, and it really hurts her. I think that, you know, Tecia Torres is really good with getting takedowns, and her submission defense is really good. I think striking-wise, these chicks are about even, but I just feel like Tecia Torres is going to hit takedowns when she needs to rack up points. And I think this is going to be like every Tecia Torres fight that she's ever won. She's just, it's going to be back and forth striking, but she gets the takedowns and just edges her out. So I think Tecia Torres is going to win by a 30-27 decision. Next is Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje, and I know a ton of people are really high on Justin Gaethje, but I feel like we've seen in the past that guys that fight him smart tend to do really well against him. And people just look like Eddie like he's just a brawler, but it's like the dude has really good boxing. I feel like he could fight however the fuck he wanted to. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think that Eddie's going to box him from the outside and just not get dragged into the brawl unless he absolutely has to. And I feel like Eddie's just going to edge out the rounds, and I think he's going to either win all 3 or just win at least 2 out of 1. Because Justin Gaethje's style, it's really fun to watch, but I feel like if he fought somebody like Edson Barboza, I think Barboza would fuck him up, in all honesty, just stylistically. And I think that Eddie Alvarez, you know, he trains with Barboza, and I feel like he's capable of doing that style where he just, you know, doesn't, you know, fight, you know, crazy and get in that brawl. And I just, like I said, I feel like Eddie's going to win at least 2 of the 3 rounds, and this will probably be fight of the night, but like I said, I got Eddie Alvarez winning the 29-28 decision. Next is Henry Cejudo versus Sergio Pettis. And to me, you know, if Pettis could keep the standing, which it probably will because Cejudo doesn't go for takedowns that much, but to me, if Cejudo's smart, he'll just go for takedowns. I feel like if Cejudo takes this fight to the ground, he's going to win this fight pretty easily. I don't know why he doesn't use his wrestling as much in the UFC. I feel like he's, you know, an Olympic gold medalist. Why the fuck wouldn't he wrestle with people? Especially going into this fight where it's obvious you have a huge wrestling advantage. You know, if it's striking, it can go either way. But I think, like I said, if Cejudo's smart, he's going to go for takedowns. And I feel like when he does, he's just going to win this fight pretty easily. I think Cejudo, you know, is just faster and more powerful overall. And he'll be able to control this fight in, like, the clinch and the wrestling areas. So I just got Cejudo winning by decision. Next, we got Alistair Overeem versus Francis Ngannou. And I know people are super high on Ngannou, but he hasn't, in my opinion, beaten anybody super amazing yet, aside from Andrei Arlovski. You know, he does have a win over, what's-his-face, Curtis Blades, but I feel like both those guys were super raw when that happened, and Curtis Blades had, like, no striking whatsoever. He's training like a shit gym. So, I mean, you know, Francis Ngannou, he likes to kind of just pressure guys forward and then wing big shots, but I feel like if Overeem just keeps his distance on the outside, he should be able to pick this guy apart. I feel like as long as Overeem doesn't get, you know, caught, I think that he'll eventually catch Francis. You know, people, it's a heavyweight. These dudes could knock each other out at any point in time, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Overeem's going to stick and move on the outside and eventually land a counterpunch like how he did against JDS. And once he does that, I think he's going to win by knockout. So I got Overeem winning by KO either in the first or second round. Finally, we got Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo, and you know, some people are like, Jose Aldo is taking this fight on super short notice. Cut that shit out. Like, right now. Stop that shit. Like, Jose Aldo is supposed to fight, like, a week from now. So, you know, he's fighting a different opponent, but it's not like he's fucking taking this fight on, like, no notice with no training camp. He was, like I said, he was about to fight fucking Ricardo Almeida. Why can't I say Ricardo Lamas? He was gonna fight Ricardo Lamas in like a week or two, so he's already had like, you know, 10 or 9 week camp. He just cut his camp a week or two short. And when you get a call for a title shot, you know what I mean? Of course you're gonna take it. So I just don't want people to be like, you know, he lost this fight because he had no time to prepare. He had no time to prepare for Max Holloway, but he was already in a camp, so he's in great shape. So don't say that. You know, that's not fair. You know, people were also saying Aldo leg was hurt, that's why he wasn't throwing kicks in the first fight. You know, maybe that's true, or maybe he just had a hard time gauging the distance. People make it sound like if he throws leg kicks, this is instantly going to win him the fight. I feel like we saw what happened. It wasn't that he wasn't throwing leg kicks because he got tired. And once he gets tired, Max Holloway took over. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen. Aldo's had the same problem throughout his whole career. He slows down every round, and Max Holloway's going to get faster every round. So if Aldo can't knock him out in the first round like he almost did in the first fight, then I think the same thing's going to happen. Max is just going to slowly build momentum throughout the rounds and eventually win by knockout. It might happen a round later just because, you know, Max is, you know, a slower paced guy. He throws high volume, but he doesn't have knockout power, so it usually takes him just a little bit longer to get those finishes. And so I think the exact same thing is going to happen. Aldo's going to win the first, the second's going to be close, and then Holloway's either going to knock him out in the third or the fourth. So thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.